Hey, it's Sana, welcome back to my channel. I'm feeling bouncy because I'm really tired and it doesn't make sense, but when I hit a certain point I'm just like I've apparently reached that point. So, I'm going to review The Invasion of the Tearling by Erika Johansen. I was going to wait and do like a series review because like I didn't want to give stuff away, but I've just started reading the third and final book, The Fate of the Tearling, and I realised that I'm not going to be able to like keep separate the books. Like once all the information from all of them is consolidated, I'm going to completely like lose what belongs where. Like what information was revealed when and that sort of stuff. So, this is the second book in the Tearling series, so if you haven't read the first one, there may be some there'll be spoilers in this one for the first one. That being said, I will endeavour to not give any spoilers away for this book. There may be teeny ones because, again, as I said, it's a little bit difficult for me because I've started reading the third one. So, yeah, I have got notes, but all of them are pretty much spoilers. So, I'm winging this. Actually, what happened was I wrote non-spoilery notes and then I had no idea what had actually happened in the book and I had to go back and like go through all my highlights, of which there were many. So I feel like I almost read like the second book, like a quarter of it again. Anyway, so in this book we have again multiple points of view. We follow Queen Kelsey. We've got the Red Queen as well. I can't even remember who the points of view were in the first book, so whatever. In this book we also have a few new ones. We have Ewan, who is a prison guard in the palace dungeon, and he's a little bit slow. He's not stupid, he's just a bit slow. We have Isa, who is Andalie's daughter, and she's a bit kick-ass. She's pretty cool. I found her a bit grating throughout most of this book, but as I said, I've started reading the next one. I don't mind where she's heading, and I think I said in I think a wrap-up that I did that included this book, and maybe even in the first review for the Queen of the Tearling, the best part about this series is the characters. It is all about the characters. I mean, there's plot, and that's well done, but it is the characters and their growth that is really the triumph. It is the crowning glory, if you will. Anyway, we have a few more points of view. We've also got Hall, who is like second in command in the Queen's army, behind the unlikable fellow, and Hall's purpose in this book is basically to try and halt the Mort invasion of the Tearling as much as he can with a tiny army, because there's a lot of the army that are trying to evacuate pretty much like all the farmlands and get them all into the city, the main city, which cannot support that many people, which is also an ongoing problem. Our other point of view is Father Tyler. So a priest who works in the Arvath, I think is how you say it. So it's like the church. And, you know, he's this old man and he just likes his books, and he gets sent to be the Queen's, like, personal confessor. Really, he's meant to be a spy. I don't think that's a spoiler, really, because as soon as he's introduced, you're pretty much told that. So, yeah. And the other point of view is Lily Mayhew, I think it is. And Lily lives in, like, late 21st century America, which is gone very dystopian. You know, there's a big divide between rich and poor. Women don't really have rights. It's not a very nice place to be. Not at all. And yeah, it follows her story, which is connected to the, like, origins of the Tearling and the crossing. So, yeah, in this book we're dealing with the Mort invasion, trying to evacuate everybody. Kelsey's having flashbacks and sort of to Lily's life and, like, wandering around, just kind of unseeing. We get a lot of ends tied up, which I'm so pleased. We find out a lot more about the Red Queen and her backstory, why she is the way she is, things like that. The dark creature that kind of appears in fireplaces is a steady presence in this book, and you get a bit of an idea of what's happening with the creature as well. The big thing in this is the author finally explains what the hell the crossing is. It takes a long time. Like, I did put down this book in, like, almost at the halfway point, and I was like, I'm just tired. I don't like these flashbacks to Lily. What's the bloody point? There is a point. And if I'd read about 5 more pages, I would have understood what the point was. And, you know, the whole experience would have been, like, maybe a week, as opposed to taking an entire month. I read this from, like, the 19th of April to the 18th of May, so I took my time. Yeah, we're getting lots of backstory. We also get backstory for the Mace, or Lazarus, or whatever you want to call him. Which is great. So you're getting to know more and more about these characters, and in the midst of it all is Kelsey herself, and, you know, she's got her sapphires, and she's not really, in the first book there was a bit of magic use that was pretty spectacular, to be honest. In this book, I should have said this at the beginning, I'll put up a trigger. There are trigger warnings for everything. There are trigger warnings for, like, rape and abuse and self-harm and everything. Just, yeah. You know, so Kelsey is using her magic a little bit. She is having trouble dealing with everything, which is not surprising because she's got an invading army, like, that are going to be determined to, like, rape and pillage and plunder, like, on their way to her gates. You know, she's got a kingdom that has a very big class divide between rich and poor. There's like no education, no sewage or hygiene, sanitation, no healthcare. You know, you've got corruption, all of this, and she's trying to deal with it. And she's not dealing with it particularly well. And the other thing that's happening is she is changing. In the first book, you know, she's a plain looking girl. She's just average sort of girl. In this book, she is actually physically changing. She's losing weight. She's becoming prettier. And it was annoying me a bit, but it's actually a plot device. Like, it actually has a purpose. And once I knew what it was, it didn't piss me off anymore. Well, maybe a tiny bit, but like, I was like, you could have done without that, but sure. So, you know, she's trying to deal with also, you know, sort of, it's not a huge part, you know, sexual desire and lust and you know, having a crush on a guy and things like that. So, you know, before that, she was living out in the woods on her own with 2 old people. There wasn't a lot of room for having crushes on guys. There were no guys around to have crushes on. So she's sort of dealing with that on the side. As I said, it is part of it, but it's not central. And I appreciate that a lot. Like, I cannot tell you how much I appreciate Erika Johansen and this series. It is dismal and depressing and absolutely amazing. And I'm not disappointed by anything. There's nothing in this series so far that has truly annoyed me to the point where I'm like, no, just, nope. It's been none of that. I mean, the emotional toll it has taken on me, yeah, that's definitely there. It is very heavy. The subject matter is quite dark, but that is part of what I like about it. Like, it seems realistic to me. You know, if you're in this awful situation, you know, you've got a shit kingdom that's gone to hell, and you've got a bloody crazy, like, almost immortal queen sending her crazy, you know, army to stomp all over you and rape, plunder, pillage, kill, torture, you know, your people and you, if they can get their hands, you know, is heavy stuff. And there's no magical, like, solution to this. And that's what I like. There's no magical solution. There are limits to, you know, what her magical blue sapphires can do. There are things that you just have to, you know, just claw your way through, because they're terrible, and that's just how it is. So, to wrap up, I gave this book 4 out of 5 stars. I did take off a star because it was very emotionally draining for me, and there were a lot of triggers. Like, it didn't send me into meltdown, but there were some things that did make me a bit uncomfortable. As a reader and as somebody who has experienced some of those things. Like, you know, it's not like, as I said, it's not like I had a complete breakdown over them. you know, I've built up my armor. I'm not that fragile and delicate anymore. If I'd read this when I was a fair bit younger, I probably wouldn't have dealt with it very well. So my point is, what is my point? Oh, that's right. So for me, I've built up my armor. I have the luxury of distance in the sense of time from a lot of these triggers. You know, so I've built up this armor, and I'm not as fragile as I used to be quite a few years ago. But for some people, this book, yeah, it is a difficult read. The first one has a lot of the triggers as well, but this one just took the cake, really. Yeah, so I think I've covered everything. Characters, excellent. Plot, world building, got there eventually. The first book I was a bit wishy. I was a little bit like, but that was apparently planned. You weren't meant to know what the hell was happening in the first book. In terms of, like, you got the idea of roughly what the world was like, but you're like, what the fuck is the crossing? Excuse my language. And in this book, you're like, oh, nice setup. That was well done. Good job. And yeah, the plot, as I said, emotionally very draining. So 4 stars. I do recommend this book. I recommend this series, in fact. It is excellent. That being said, I will probably never read it again. It's that kind of series, I think. It's not something I'm going to pick up for enjoyment, or because I truly loved the characters. I liked the characters, and I really liked their development. But I can't say I'm not going to be fangirling over any of them. So, that's it from me. If you liked my very long video, give me a thumbs up. Even better, subscribe to my channel. Yeah. Again, thank you for watching, and I hope you find yourself here again sometime in the future.